mentioned several times that in regard to the card check legislation, that there's currently a compromise and that it's off the table. As a U.S. Senator, if that compromise were not to come to fruition and card check was back on the table, would you support it?
Card check's not going to be brought back on the table. It's really just that simple. You can talk to labor leaders and they will tell you that the card check provision is not something that can get passed. It's not something that can get passed in the current Senate. It's not something that will get passed in the likely next Senate.
Okay, well, would you support it in principle then?
The principles that I support, Janie, are the ones I outlined. Speedier elections, putting more rigorous enforcement on either side if they try to inhibit those free elections. I want the elections to be secret. I want them to be democratic. Senator?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how he's seen the compromise because most of the senators have not seen any compromise that's been put forth by anybody, whether it's senators or the labor unions in conjunction with whomever they might be negotiating. So it's just, and maybe I'll go back and ask again, but I have certainly asked several senators if there is a compromise, and none of those that are touted as having worked on a compromise have got a compromise. So I think that's clearly an issue. I also think it's pretty hard to say that the labor unions don't want the Employee Free Choice Act anymore. They clearly do. And I think they've made it pretty clear that they want to continue to work to bring it up. I don't know. I visit with the labor unions. I still very strongly believe in workers' rights to organize. I supported them even after they came out with ads against me. I've supported them on Davis-Bacon and several other issues that I think are critically important to making sure that we have a safe and healthy and strong workplace where folks can have good jobs. And so I think we're coming back to those jobs. But I do think that EFTA is definitely still an issue on the table for the labor unions.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up.
Yeah,
Lieutenant Governor, who or what is the source of your information about this compromise?
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to address that to Senator Lincoln. The fact is, I've been told by labor leadership and some businessmen that in fact there's a compromise being discussed. I've also been told that Senator Mark Pryor is one of the 6 senators that is working on such a thing. And Senator, you keep saying that I've seen it. I've never said that I've seen it. It has been described to me. And I wonder whether or not conversations have not been held with you about such a compromise.
No, they have not. I have not had conversations about a compromise. And you're right, Mark did jump in there early on and wanted to try to be helpful, and I think that's certainly a good thing. But
so you just now admitted that, in fact, some senators are working on a compromise, including Mark Pryor.
I don't think they're working on a compromise right now. I think they've talked about one in the past, probably perhaps last year. But there is no compromise to see, and I was just curious because you seem to indicate that you support the compromise, and I don't know what that compromise is.
I consistently said I support the principles of the compromise as outlined. I've never said
to get us back on